So here is the T-molding with the LED strip cut out. And so as you can see, there's not a whole lot of room here. Originally, I wanted to use typical LED strips. You see these full-size strips, but they don't fit. And so I'm hoping these will fit. These are much smaller, so you can see there's a pretty big, these are a lot smaller. But I turn them on, they're pretty bright, so I'm not worried about the brightness. We cannot fish these connectors through. See, they just don't fit. There's just not enough room. So we're gonna have to lop off these connectors and then solder them back on. So a little bit of extra work, but you know, not the end of the world. Okay, so now we're going to attach our T-molding with the LED strip already fished through. And so the trick here is unfortunately you can't attach the T-molding and then fish the strip through because these bends are just too much. You're not going to be able to get the strip through. So I'm not going to use a rubber mallet because I don't want to kind of hammer on the LEDs. So I'm just gonna kind of vary, and I'll show you how I'm doing this. Just with your hands, just kind of push it in, and we'll actually go in. So just like that. So you don't need to use the rubber mallet. You might need to use it, but if you do, just go easy because you got these LEDs in here. And so again, I'm just kind of pushing it in, and that's how we're doing it. And just be really careful. Okay. All right. So now we're going to mount this Pixelcade pulse matrix, and we're just going to mount it right here. And to make this easier for you, we've got a few mounting templates. So if you happen to have a Rec Room cab, which I have here, I made this. This will be an option when you order and you check out. So if you have a Rec Room cab, this just makes it a little bit easier. You can just basically stick it here, and then it's a little easier to center. But if you don't have a Rec Room cab, no problem. Just get this will come with a normal mounting template, and you'll just manually center it here. So that's what we're going to do right now. Since I do have a Rec Room cab, I'm going to center this guy. And so basically what we need to do is just center it between the speaker grills here, and then tape it down before we start drawing. Okay, let's start with the easy holes first. We'll go ahead and drill these small guys. Longer bolts. This may be a little tricky to find the holes. So let's start with one here. You may have to, yeah, there we go. think that's good. We'll just push these in as far as they'll go, and then we'll attach them in the back, and you can see it doesn't stick out very far, right? So it's nice and flush mount. Looking at it, it looks centered. So we're good. All right, so here's what the top looks like. So you can see here our cables. Probably should label these, which one is in, which one was out. And then here's our screws here. So what we're gonna do is just take a little washer, put the washer on there, and then put a little hex nut on there. Okay, so you can see here, nice and flush there. We're in good shape. So last step, just from the back, you can reach over, hold the hex nut, and you don't want to do it too tight, because if you do it too tight, it's probably going to bow a little bit. Just hand tight is fine. But the key is just to make sure it's flush. Which if you look at it from here, I can see it's nice and flush. It's not bowed, so that is good. Next, we're going to install these LED speaker grills. The LEDs will go kind of on the outside of this. So that's the idea. This is going to be flush mount. We'll have to drill some holes here. And same thing as before, got a nice mounting template for you. So we'll just line up this mounting template. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So the way this is going to work is we're going to line up the mounting template. So you see a little circle in the middle of the speaker cone. We're just going to line up this circle here with the speaker cone itself and then just tape it down. And then we're going to have to drill a hole here. I have 4-inch speakers, so I've measured it, so I've got enough clearance. I'm not actually drilling a hole in my speakers, but you want to check that on your side. If you have larger than 4-inch speakers, then you'd have to do something different. Okay, so this one, we're just going to eyeball it, and we're just going to line up right in the middle, the speaker, the center of the speaker cone with this circle here. Okay, so now here's the big hole. We're going to drill a pilot hole first. We need to route the cables through, so let's do that. Okay, good. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Notice this one is labeled right versus the other mounting template was labeled left, so make sure you get the right one. And we're going to do the same thing. Now we'll drill the pilot hole. Now, by the way, if you don't have a Rec Room cab, right, because I just did these mounting templates specifically for that, you can also just get the out-of-the-box mounting template, which is this guy. Okay. Okay, so there's our holes. Let's go ahead and we'll take off the masking, and then when you're doing this, just look at the back and just look at the up arrow so you don't have it upside down. So you want the arrow pointing up, just like that. And then let's see if we did our holes big enough. Looks like we did. Just kind of slide these 3 cables through the 3 holes. Last one's a little tight. Let's see here. Okay, we're good. Gently pull it through. So that's what it looks like. Once we get our screws in, you'll see it's kind of, the idea was it's supposed to be parallel to this angle here. So it looks the right way. So let's go ahead and screw that in. Find the holes there. That might be a little tricky. Okay, so I gotta go down a little bit. Okay, so I'm just attaching this hex nuts on the other side. And when you're tightening these, like, don't go super tight. Just hand tight is fine. It's already in there. Technically, you can probably even get away without having the screws. But if you go super tight, you're going to bend the acrylic, which we don't want to do. So just hand tight is fine. All right, that's one. Let's go do the other side. But again, you can see this is what we want, right? So it's kind of got the same angle here as this. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's do the same thing on this other side. This time we're just going to get the template that's labeled the right side. And let's drill holes. Okay, so same thing as before. We can take you can leave the masking on actually if you want, just so it doesn't get scratched. And let's, again, make sure you got the arrow pointing up so it's not upside down. Let's make sure we made our holes big enough. But it's nice and flush, which is exactly what we want. So now let's put you can just reach over here and attach the hex nut on the other side. Okay, so we've got a Pixelcade LCD marquee. We've got our speaker grill here. We've got our 8x32 center matrix, another speaker grill. Got the LED strips, one on each side. And then we also put an effects matrix on each side here. So that's what we've got wired up. And then everything basically goes into the marquee area, so it's pretty neat. So if you look in the marquee area, you can just kind of see how we have everything wired. So it's very straightforward. If you just follow that video, so you're just connecting, the input and the output and just putting it in one big daisy chain basically. And the way I did this was I started with my right strip, and so the input is there at the bottom. That then goes through here, out the back, and that will connect to Pixelcade. In from our right LED strip, which is the first device in the chain, I'm going to plug into here. So once again, we've got our common ground going all the way down to our 5-volt power supply there. We've got the first device in the chain hooked up to directly to the Pixelcade board. So in terms of power injection, what I did was, here's my 5 volts coming from my external power supply, and I just picked this side matrix, and so you see it's got the 5 volts in here. Just put a couple connectors on here. I could have picked any device. I could have picked the center matrix, could have picked the right matrix. So it doesn't really matter. Just pick any device that's got an extra 5 volts in, pick one, and then inject the power there. You can use any connectors you want. If you're good at soldering, you could solder. I just had these little terminal connectors lying around the house. I picked those. The key is just make sure the red is going to the red, the black is going to the black, so you don't have the polarity wrong. And then nice thing about Rec Room is they've got these slots here, so you can just put all the wires, recess them in here, and then put the top on. Very clean installation. Okay, so here's what things look like from the back. This is our standard Rec Room. It's kind of a mess, actually, to be honest. I'm a little embarrassed to show it. I need to do a little cable management, but in case you're wondering, that's what it looks like from the back.